So what we are going to demo is the MCP config display application, which is running on Android using Android Native, and also the MCP plugin for Android. The MCP plugin for Android provides several build time tools for checking an MCP config file's existence, verifying that it has valid values in it, and then injecting those values into the Android application. What's also interesting about the MCP plugin, and what we will go into later, is that the MCP plugin is aware of the Android build variant and build flavors features. What this means is that we can choose, as part of the build process, different APIs to interact with based on the needs of the APK we're being built. For instance, while we might want to have a version for debugging, we will also want to have a version for QA that might have different features enabled or disabled. So let's load up the config application right now, and it is using a debug configuration. So what we see are the values for an app that I've called test debug. Now I'm going to go into my mobile control panel and delete that app. And so when I load the application again, it'll crash because the application is trying to talk to an MCP does not exist anymore. However, in my control panel I have a QA enabled variant. So I choose that build variant in my IDE in Android Studio, and then I build this using the QA variant. And it takes a few moments to build. However, once it's built, then we'll see that it is loading the configuration from the QA instance of the app. Build variants in Android are configured in the build.gradle file of your individual applications. And one of the things that this allows us to do is we can also do things like we can use our plugin to provide more tasks to the user. So right now we only have the MCP generation tasks, which we will show here. We see that we can process both of all of these files. So if we, so if we were to say delete one of those MCP files, say the debug file, and then go back here and then run app process debug FeedHenry MCP, then we'll get an error saying that the MCP config file is missing. However, if we do the same thing for the QA version, that file still exists, so the build can run successfully. That's all for my demo for now. There's a lot more that this plugin will allow us to do in the future as we develop it, should we choose to. One of the more interesting things will be that we can actually provide extra configuration for the plugin and for the integration steps in the build phase of the application using by extending the Gradle DSL. Extending the Gradle DSL is relatively straightforward, and it's provided through the Groovy implementations of the plugin itself. I'm going to be sending out an email with links to early versions of all the sources and for your perusal. Thank you.